they appear to be so successful and apparently enjoying all the wealth that the world has to offer, but inside their hearts, they're practically suicidal. They're practically suicidal. In fact, sometimes they do kill themselves, because a life without love is hell. Actually, it's hell. So sometimes even, they try to kill Krishna, and on this occasion, this young man, I don't know, what was going on in his head. He was ill, but somehow he was impelled, and he attacked Krishna. And at the time, there was no one in the temple room, and there was no gate. These gates all date from that time. There was no gates in the movement prior to that. And he attacked Krishna. The curtain was closed. He just ran through the curtains and threw himself upon Radha and Krishna. And they were damaged. And for 3 days, we were actually, I'm just reminded of this because it's the same as when the demigods saw Krishna go inside Agasura. They were also thinking, Krishna's vanquished. So we felt the same thing back in 1971. For 3 days, the altar was empty. You can't imagine. You can imagine depression, we all felt, because the movement was very young then. We thought, maybe this is it now. Maybe it's all gone terribly wrong. And we were all very young. Prabhupada was in India. We couldn't contact Prabhupada so easily. We sent a telegram. And the telegram somehow reached Prabhupada. He was traveling in the north. And the telegram came back the next day or so. We said, what should we do? And so Prabhupada said, then you can repair Krishna and put him back on the altar. And Mahavishnu was a new devotee at that time, and he was a sculptor. And so he had that task. And Krishna was kept in Prabhupada's room for 3 days. He repaired him. And during those 3 days, it just felt like, Arti felt like going to a funeral. And we had a picture of Krishna on the altar, and somehow, as fate would have it, the Krishna had the picture had a black frame, which I found to be particularly difficult to look at, because, a black frame is what you use to commemorate somebody who's dead. Anyway, on the 3rd day, Krishna came back, and it was a festival beyond, you cannot imagine how ecstatic and just how reassured and how joyful we all felt to see that actually, Krishna wasn't destroyed after all. He's back just the same as before, only I think there was a greater realization of how we are to care for Krishna. Krishna, of course, we know he will always look after us. And so, we can sometimes take all manner of risks, as the cowherd boys did, because we know that Krishna will look after us. And I know that, we all have different natures. And some of us, we naturally are sort of bold and fearless, foolhardy, you could say. But some also, some persons' natures are, fearful or nervous or insecure. And they can be devotees too. So especially for those, who feel some sort of sense of awareness of the fears that the world has to present, take shelter of Krishna in the certain knowledge that Krishna will always, always protect you in all circumstances. Place our faith in Krishna. And it's ultimately, it's that final letting go and just placing myself in Krishna's hands, which is the most sought after opportunity in devotional service, which is exemplified by Draupadi, when she was being disrobed, or they were trying to disrobe her and pulling the sari, and she was holding on. And then finally, You know the story, all the Kauravas were gathered round, they were trying to shame her because they wanted, through shaming her, to offend and hurt the Pandavas, whose wife she was. So they were trying to destroy her. She was holding on, and then finally she placed her full faith in Krishna, and she stopped holding on, and she held up her arms and called out, "Krishna, save me!" And Krishna saved her by supplying an unlimited salary. So it's that moment of, that I try, in every possible way, I try to protect myself and to surround myself with all sorts of safeguards and security measures to be safe. But in this world, actually, no one is ever safe by a material standard. But it's that moment of just letting go and placing my full faith in Krishna. I suppose the greatest example of that, well, a wonderful example of that I can think of, was Prabhupada setting sail on the Jaladuta. He had no idea, what would become of him. He just placed his faith in Krishna. In fact, he said, "Anyway, let me try." Prabhupada said that in a lecture I think he was referring to. I looked at all these people covered with the modes of passion and ignorance, how will they possibly hear what I have to say? Anyway, let me try. And so with us, we have the mission that Prabhupada gave us. How we possibly get these people to listen to us, we don't know. But anyway, let us try. And trust in Krishna. And Krishna will certainly protect us. So that's one of the lessons of this lovely story, that the children, in their innocence, they just completely trust. They didn't think for a minute that they were in danger. We trust Krishna completely. And so they went into the belly of the Aghasura demon, just like the devotees every day dance on the belly of Oxford Street or whichever street, all over central London. I hope you don't just go on Oxford Street, do you?
Sometimes you go other places.
Yeah. I always liked it when, in the days when I joined, we used to go Oxford Street every morning, and then in the afternoon we went somewhere different. We went King's Road, we went Kensington High Street, Hampstead, Victoria Street, and so we spread it around a bit, which I think is nice. But always, when you're in Harinam, my goodness, you just know, don't you? I am protected completely. Are there any questions or comments? Yes.
Thank you very much for this class. You were speaking about the maniac mentalities, and I was wondering, when you were saying that someone may think that they have these qualities and traces may be there, and I was thinking that, I definitely recognize those qualities in myself.
That's because you're a devotee.
It's your qualities and recognizing that they are there. And I was wondering how much I can engage those maniac qualities in Krishna's service.
Well,